What do you each remember about the first time you saw the original Apes movie with Charlton Heston, and how did that experience impact your enthusiasm for trying to board the franchise?
Those are all much older than me. I obviously wasn't alive. Speaking to
Well, I can't. I mean, really, you look back, and I mean, I can't imagine this sort of childhood without planning. You know, I was 9, 10 when the first one came out. So, you know, it's not only the opportunity to work with these good people. You're also being asked to be part of cinema history. So it's you know, that was above and beyond the story and that. And, you know, you're involved with something that for the most part comes with a very good pedigree. I mean, it went a little wobbly a while, but we're back on track. And I said that here.
That's right. We accept. We accept.
I saw, the thing about Planet of the Apes was it really, for a long period of time, was my childhood. I mean, I was so obsessed after seeing that movie. And I don't know, as a kid seeing the movie, it's an interesting thing that the first thing you want to do is actually become one of those apes. It's so fascinating. And I was so, like, interested in that John Chambers makeup and seeing gorillas on horseback with guns. Like, what? That's a pretty powerful image. And I had the dolls. I had an 8mm reel of Beneath the Planet of the Apes, which I would watch until all the sprockets broke. I mean, I was obsessed. And the great thing about when I saw Rise, having been a lifelong fan, was that having always wanted to be an ape, when I saw that movie, I suddenly was an ape. And the reason was for a reason that I never would have suspected would ever be able to be done, which was that I had an emotional identification with an ape. And that blew me away. I thought, oh my God, I can't believe that now I know what it is to feel that character's feelings, and in a way that actually the most human character in that story is Caesar and what Andy did. And I was so blown away by that. And I thought, wow, what's so exciting about Planet of the Apes is that, of course, the secret is, you know, we're all saying, oh, it's all about how the animals become, you know, get in charge. Well, we are the animals. And so the idea of doing a story about how the animals get in charge, well, since that's what we are, the story's about us. And what I thought was so exciting about getting to get into this world was to explore really, you know, it's a blockbuster, right? It's a big sort of giant effects movie, and it's a summer movie, but it's a very unique one in that it's about our nature. And to explore that from both sides and to extend the story and everything that they did in Rise was such an exciting thing for me. That's really why I wanted to do it.
Let's move on to Jane.
Yeah, and my question is for Andy. With your first performance as Caesar, you received such a great groundswell of support and just recognition from the fans after the wonderful performance you gave, leading this campaign, you know, to get you nominations for various award shows. What was that like for you? And just do you have any expectations moving forward that maybe that recognition will continue to grow for what you and others do?
I mean, I have to say, I've sort of unwittingly become a spokesperson for a sort of perceived discrimination between actors who act in motion capture suits or in costumes with makeup, and it's not a position I've just sort of ended up in this rather weird position, and I shouldn't be, because in actual fact, performance capture is just it's a technology, it's another bunch of cameras filming an actor's performance, and I think really the most important thing is that the perception is that needs to be understood. So regardless of any awards or accolades, it's really an understanding not just from within our own acting community, but also within the filmmaking community at large, and then actually the people who know most about it are the audience. They seem to be so aware. And the younger generation of actors or younger generation of people who've grown up with knowing how to you become avatars through video games. They have no problem understanding you can become something else. Sitting at home doing that. So I really don't. you know, I would say I've never distinguished between, you know, when I've played lots of different roles, whether they be live action or performance capture, and Gary's done the same. You know, you don't alter your performance because you're using a different camera to film you. That's I suppose that's what I feel. What do you think, Gary? You know, but you've done it. You know.
You put it very well. I mean, the question that's often asked is, what's it like working with Andy Serkis as the ape? You're better to answer that because you have all the big scenes with them. But I come to work and I get into a costume, and Andy comes to work and gets into a costume, and so it's, you know, at least you can see space, you can see the eyes, and you see the emotion. I would actually rather that than if you were wearing a mask, then the question might be, well, what's it like working with someone who's wearing a mask? But you're not. You're like, you know, I mean, but you did the, I mean, you're...
No, it's Andy. That's what's the great thing is it's not anything other than a really talented actor. I've seen Andy's eyes and hearing his voice and hearing him talk about his family, and that's things I've never seen.
And it's not, and also in this film, there's brilliant performances across the board from a load of talented actors playing apes as well. It is an ensemble piece, and on the human side as well. So it's you know, I don't see. I mean, it's interesting going back to the question about the original Planet of the Apes, and there are all those sort of apocryphal stories of, well, the orangutan sat at one table and the chimpanzee sat at another table at dinner time, you know, and nobody ever talked to each other. And you know, we certainly don't have that situation. You know, the actors are the actors.
But that's where I drew the line.
They would never eat together. It was really, that was weird.
That was clear. That was very clear with you.
Lunchtime.
No animals.
The thing about it was, for me, was I'd never done motion capture, and my main interest really in...
They dubbed your voice. Have you seen the
Oh, have I seen it dubbed? Have I seen? Yeah. Unfortunately, it wasn't a problem with Caesar in the first movie. Saying no,
That's right.
home. But yes, no. I actually met when I was doing Lord of the Rings. I actually met the guy from Japan who played Gollum and Smeagol, and we both did it for each other, and it was amazing. Actually, I mean, without sounding like I'm very racially stereotyping, his Gollum and Smeagol. It was fantastic. I was like, God, that's incredible. Of course. But the thing is, we all had our performances dubbed into other languages. That's what happened.
My question is for Matt Reeves. I wanted to talk to you about if there was any fears or just incredible amount of excitement first taking on this project, because obviously if you love the franchise, it sounds like a dream job for you.
The thing is, it was a dream, and it was terrifying, because what essentially happened on the project was that I had a great affinity for Rise. I thought it was really moving, and I was like, when they approached me about it, I thought, why has done such a beautiful job with this film? And it turned out that for a number of reasons, that he didn't want to do what they wanted to do. He also didn't think the schedule was enough, and all this stuff, which now, having done it, I can tell you he's right, the schedule was not enough. But the idea was, I said, well, what I'd be interested in is carrying forward really what was established in Rise, which is the emotional heart of those apes and how that turns into, look, we all know that it doesn't become Planet of the Humans and the Apes. So it seemed to me that this was a moment where you could actually explore that question, the coexistence between these two populations that were struggling for survival. And the thing that was really important to me was that we carry forward the apes in an emotional way that you could relate to, and then we take the humans and even in a way that was really different from Rise, take those humans and depict them in a way where they weren't villains either. There are no villains in our story. It's all about survival and trying to find a way to sort of master our nature and the impulses within us. And so I went in and I sort of pitched that, and they were like, okay. And I was like, oh, okay, so what's the catch? And they said, the catch is you need to start shooting very soon. So that was the crazy thing about it, was just that I had to jump in and seize the opportunity. But they were giving me the opportunity to make the movie that I thought would be so exciting to be a part of, and to get to dive into this world was something I couldn't resist. So there were a million things I'd never done before. The idea of doing motion capture and the idea of doing effects on this level, and yet the big sort of relief of it all was that at its center it was exactly the same as making any movie, except after you've done that, then you have to do a number of really strange things, like shoot the scene again, which Keri can tell you without the actors or Keri tell you. It's like suddenly it's like, hey, we just did something great. Yeah, now you guys got to go back in there and do it again, and this time they won't be there. And all of those things were added complexities that were challenging, but that was part of the thrill of it. It was really like just jumping out of an airplane and saying, I'm doing this. I'm just going to do this. And I got to tell you, I would never jump out of an airplane, but I was happy to jump into this.
You said it was that. I heard that you have agreed to work on develop the next one. How would you expand it further and build upon it?
Well, I mean, the thing about it is that I think that there's a particular luxury with getting involved with the story, which is we already know the ending. So the story immediately isn't about the what happens. It's about the how it happens. And I had a screenwriting instructor who I loved many years ago who talked to me about stories, and he said, you know, there are the kind of the stories that are about the what, and then there are the stories that are about the why. If you already know what happened, then it becomes about the why, and the why is about psychology and about character, and that is what I find interesting. So to me, the idea was, and it was actually the thing why I was saying, you know, when I got involved, they had actually jumped farther down the line, closer to Planet of the Apes than I ever wanted to, and I thought I was not going to do this movie. I thought, oh, that's what you guys want to do, because I think you should start earlier, because there's a long and interesting path that's all about the lives of these people and how they're affected in this situation, and the idea would be that the next phase of the story would be how those lives continue in this struggle. It's an ongoing struggle, the way that our lives are every day.
Okay, Jeffrey, next
Sadly, we all know the end.
Gary, the colony you lead in this movie, is this like the last vestige of the human civilization as sort of humanity at the top of the food chain as these damn dirty apes are taking over with their paws and stuff?
Well, initially we don't know that there are apes there because this community has survived the flu, the epidemic, which is sort of wiped out huge part of the world. We believe that the military have done their job, and I mean, basically they wiped out the apes. So we are this. I mean, the thing is, we have food, we have water, but the currency in the movie, I guess, if for want of a better word, is electricity. That's the currency, and we need that to communicate to the outside world, to actually find out if there is anyone out there, or how many are out there, who is out there. So we believe, you know, for all intents and purposes, we could be the only. I'm sorry, I'm incredibly distracted by the cab ride. So we could be the only survivors, and then of course we discover, you know, cut to a community of apes who believe we're all doing their thing with their family, and think we've all been wiped out, and you know, and then of course, you know, we discover each other.
And they got a problem.
And then and the drama is, yeah, I mean, that's, you know, can the apes and can the humans coexist?
And for me, the idea was that it's really a story of two families. There's a human family and there's an ape family, and that's what the colony is. That's the human family. And the difference is that the apes, they're on the ascendancy. They're still, you know, the idea is we start in this ape world and we're following their development. It's like, oh my God, in ways it almost sort of mirrors our own sort of tribal development that you see as language is coming into being and all of this stuff. And you're seeing all of the bonds that have been formed and the next generation that's coming, the civilization they're building, they're really on the way up. But the humans, the colony, they have just had the most massive sort of tragedy happen to them. And they are a family that's trying to heal itself. And so these two families have to find some way to survive, and the stakes are all about the things that they care about. And also, there's the question for the humans deeply about what it is that they've lost. The idea in this story for the humans is what it took even to still be here, and what was lost along the way, and what's worth fighting for at this point. And all of those questions, I think, are very emotional questions. It's one of the reasons why I was so excited to have these guys in that story, because of the emotional sort of depth of that was really important to me, so that this would not feel like we had sort of like straw man humans that you sometimes see in these movies, where it's like going, oh, let's see the apes destroy the humans, I can't wait. That's not what the story is about. And so that's really the struggle, is the struggle about what are these two families going to do to avoid killing each other.
One more question here. No pressure. How did filming in such a culturally rich place like New Orleans impact the production?
I mean, I think we all had an amazing time shooting at the start. I love New Orleans, you know, and I know you had a great time. It's an extraordinary city. And so above and beyond the, you know, the difficulties of shooting in 100% humidity, you know, which you know, nobody wants to stand next to you in a mocap suit.
I love the smell of sour beer and vomit.
Refurbishment particularly. That combined with us in our mocap suits.
That's right, I'm wearing flannel suits and like 100-degree, 100 humidity.
Yeah. But
interesting smell.
Yeah. But my God, you know, what a great city. I'd go back there in a heartbeat. I mean, the music scene was incredible. As a jazz fanatic, bike rides, brilliant.
Food was amazing, yeah.
Go back in a heartbeat.
Thank you.